explained to us that a class is a blueprint that used to create objects. And inside the class, you can have properties and methods. Then this is a method of this class. Shout is a method of this class. We also discussed constructor. Constructor is a special method that is automatically triggered when you create a new instance of that class. Then we also talked about this THIS. Then whereby I explained that this A refers to the object calling on that method. Right? So I said, if I say a.shout, A is the one calling on shout. This in this place refers to the A that is calling on shout. So that is what we discussed in our last class. In today's class, we are going to look at class inheritance. That is a situation whereby a class can give birth to another class. Another thing we are also going to look at today is this keyword, THIS. We're going to look at this better today, THIS, and we round off the JavaScript training session. So let's start with the class inheritance, whereby you have a class giving birth to children. How is that even possible? Now here is it. Imagine you're working on an application, right? And in that application, you are dealing with many animals, numerous animals. Now, instead of creating a lot of objects, for instance, let me give an instance. A cow has 4 legs, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils. Right. So this is a cow. The same way also, a goat also has this. A sheep also has this.
Yes, sir.
So this is for cow. Just copy, paste. So a goat also has this. A sheep also has this. A cow has this. A goat has this. A sheep has this. Now, there is no point. Imagine you want to create many cows, many goats, and many sheep. Right. There is no point in creating separate objects because a class is a blueprint. A blueprint makes it easy for us to create similar objects. Do you get it? In the last class, I explained that
yes.
a class. Thank you. Right. I explained to us that a class is a blueprint. So a blueprint makes it easy for us to create many similar objects. Now, there will be some things that are peculiar to cows that are not to goats, and some things that are peculiar to goats that are not to sheep. But at least we all agree that these 3 things are in all of them. So why not create a single class that will represent all of this, right? What I mean is this. I can just create a class called animal. Class animal. Inside class animal, I can say legs equals to 4, eyes equals to 2, nostrils equals to 2, like this. So, if I now want to add some things that I want to be peculiar to cow, then I can say that let this animal give birth to a child called cow. When a class gives birth to another class, what happens is that it's going to copy those things inside this to its child. That means if I say class animal should give birth to another class, what it will just do is to copy everything here and give it to that child. Next question is, how does a class give birth to another class? You do it like this. You say class, you can say cow. You use the word called extends animal. What this means is that cow is an extension of animal. Instantly, it will copy everything inside animal and make it available to cow. Do we get it?
Yes, sir.
So the implication is that cow now has legs, eyes, and nostrils automatically. I don't need to rewrite all of this inside cows. I don't need to put all of this again. Because cow is an extension of animal, it will inherit this. So this is class inheritance. So if I create a new instance of cow, right, this A, we have legs 4, eyes 2, nose 2. Any questions so far before we proceed?
So that means the A is serving as an inheritance of the object.
Yes, I don't understand this side.
Hello?
Okay, the A is the object. You know, I explained in the last class that when you have a class, most times a class on its own is often useless, right? I likened it to a building plan. When you have a building plan, oftentimes the building plan itself is not your goal. Your goal is the building that you will construct out of the building plan, right? So our goal is not even the class itself. Our goal is the object that we're going to create out of that class. And to create an object out of a class, all you need to do is to write new, followed by the name of the class, cow. If I want to create new animal like this, right? What you're just doing here is that we are saying that this should construct an object out of animal. We can now save that in a variable. So this will construct an object out of animal, and it will save it as variable B. Sorry, someone wants to join the class. Mr. Jacob, you are very welcome, sir. Okay. Do we get the explanation? Please, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
This is where the inheritance is happening. A class is inheriting another class. When a class extends another class, it will inherit those things inside that class that it's extending. So class cow is extending class animal. So that means cow will take everything inside animal. Now, when you now create an object, let's say I want to get the first cow. I can say let first cow equals to new cow. So instantly, this will create an object out of this cow, and it will assign it to first cow. It's great, and I can create another cow again. Second cow equals to new cow. So this will also create another object out of cow and extend it to second cow. Now I can do something like this again. Class goats. Class goat is also extending animal. That means goat will have these three also. If I can also have class sheep extend animal. That means sheep will also have everything here. Now, please, I want to ask a question. What is that thing that is peculiar to cow and goats and sheep do not have? Can someone tell me? Hello? What is that thing that a cow has and goats and sheep do not have? Is that? Hey, Finifolu, you can ask you can talk.
Hello, sir.
I can hear you now.
Please, cow has milk. Why goat does not have milk?
Okay. Let's work with that. Let's work with that. Thank you so much.
Cow is bigger. Cow is bigger in size.
Cow is bigger also. Good. Thank you. So let's say we want to assume that our cow has milk and goat and sheep do not have. Right. So we can come here and say milk equals to 2. What that means is that this cow now, it has milk as 2, it has legs as 4, it has eyes as 2, it has nose as 2. Do you get it?
Okay.
Instead of writing all of these things here and then adding milk to this place alone, we can just do something like this. milk equals to 2. So only those things that are peculiar to cow will be inside class cow. Let's set the size. Sorry. Let's say size is, I don't know the average weight of a cow. Sorry. I don't know that, but let's just use, let's say 400 kilogram. Sorry. Are you fine? Okay. So what happens is that this cow now has these 2 together with these 3. So this cow has 5, but goats only has these 3. So that is what class inheritance is about, right? Now, just as in a real life situation, like a child can inherit the parent, but then a parent should not inherit the child. Right? This class inheritance is a one-way process. A child is inheriting its parent, but the parent is not inheriting the child. What that means is that class cow is inheriting class animal, but class animal is not inheriting class cow. Cow is a child of animal. Goat is a child. Okay. So cow is a child of animal. Goat is a child of animal. So when we create a new instance of cow, it will have everything inside animal. When we create a new instance of goat, it will have everything inside animal. But when we create a new instance of animal, it will not have the things inside cow, and it will not have the things inside goat. What do I mean? This is what I'm saying. If I come here and say let's say new animal equals to new animal like this, I cannot say, let me use another variable name. Let's say, I'll just call it ABC. I cannot say ABC dot milk. It cannot have milk. Do we get it? Because milk does not belong to animal. Milk belongs to cow. And animal is the parent of cow. So animal cannot have access to those things inside cow. It is only cow that can have access to those things inside animal. Do we understand? Okay. Alright. So let's console log this. This should give us undefined. Yeah. But if I create a new instance of cow like this, I can say abc.lex, and that will give me 4. Any question before we proceed?
Screen again.
You said?
Can't see the screen.
Okay.
Continue, sir.
Oh, she can't see the screen. I think.
I guess it's our network.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's our network.
Yeah. Okay.
Mute your mic so that you can see it.
Okay. Let's.
Now I can see it, sir.
Good to hear. Okay, so let's proceed. We want to look at method overriding. Method overriding is where there is a method in the parent and we are repeating that method in the child. Example is this. Let's say I have a method here. Here is a method. I can say console log how are you doing? When I call on this method, it will run the code here. How are you doing? Remember I said when a child inherits a parent, it's going to inherit everything inside that parent. Right. Let's remove this code so that everything will be on the same screen. Now I can come here and say ABC dot my func. Even though cow does not have my func inside it, right, but because it is inheriting animal, it has access to this my func. So it's going to display how are you doing. We have this how are you doing. But method overriding comes in whereby the parent has a method and the child also has that same method. That means if I come to the child's class and I create another function inside, it's called my func. and I say this is hello world. If I create a new instance of that child, it will use the my func of the child. I come again. If I get a new instance of cow, it will use the my func inside cow, not the one inside animal. Being that cow now has its own method with that same name. Hello?
Yes, sir, continue.
Okay. Can
Continue.
you follow her?
I'm following you, sir.
Inside my phone.
Okay.
I have a question.
Alright, please
Does
go ahead.
func means function?
No, func is just, it can be anything. The name of, I just decided to name my
Does
function.
func means function?
I decided to name it, I can name it anything. I can name it Finny. Do you get it? This is just a function name, which can be anything. Do you understand? If you've gone to our previous classes on this, you understand that this is a function, or when you have a function inside a class, we call it a method, right? This is a method name, which can be anything of your choice, any name of your choice. So I decided to call this thing. Do you get the explanation?
Yes, sir.
So what I'm trying to explain here is that if there is a method inside the parent, and that same method is repeated inside the child, when you create a new instance of the child, it will use the one inside of the child, not the one in the parent. Not the one in the parent. So this is going to give us hello world instead. And that's why we have this hello world. Any question?
No.
Alright. So let's now look at something interesting. Constructor. In the last class, we looked at constructor. Does you guys know what a constructor is? Please, you guys know what a constructor is? I've mentioned it today also, at the beginning of the class.
Constructor is
I can't tell you, sir.
yes, constructor is programmed function that is used to trigger. It's a programmed it's programmed to trigger methods, JavaScript methods. Something that is to trigger JavaScript methods, and it operates under I don't know how, but I know it's used for triggering something.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Is a class-based object. Oriented programming in constructor is a special type of function called to create an object.
Okay. Are you reading it out from somewhere?
No?
Okay. Okay. Alright, let's move on. Now, a constructor is a special method, right, that is automatically triggered when you create a new instance of a class. This is a class. At this point, you are creating a new instance of that class. Right. You are creating a new instance of a class. At that point, the constructor is automatically triggered. So it's a special that makes it different from other methods. Whenever you want to trigger other methods, you need to trigger them explicitly. But the constructor is implicitly triggered when you create a new instance of a class. So whenever you say new and you put the name of the class here, it's going to call on the constructor. Do we understand? Once you say new followed by the class name, it will call on the,
Yes, sir.
on the constructor. Good. Now, remember I said that when a class inherits another class, it will inherit everything inside that parent. That means that class cow extending animal, we also inherit the constructor of animal. I'll come here and just say console log I am animals constructor. So class cow inheriting animal, we inherit the constructor also. So when you create a new instance of that cow, it is going to trigger the animal's constructor. It will trigger the animal's constructor. And when you check your console, you have I am animal's constructor. Any questions so far?
No.
Sir, sorry, sir.
Okay, sir.
In that you look at line 14. So is it line 14 or the last part? The last part.
This one.
No, the last. No, keep scrolling down. So the last variable we put there. Line 34.
Okay.
That's very that equals to new. Is it a must that you be putting new
Yes, sir.
on the objects, on the new assignment? Okay.
Yes, sir. It is this new that tells JavaScript that you want to create a new instance of that class.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
It's good.
Sherifat, you are welcome. Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening. I think
Thank you, sir.
for this JS, I think you are our most consistent student. So I appreciate you. Okay. So we are explaining the constructor, right? So I'll come here and say constructor also. Console log. I am cow's constructor. Remember I told you that when a child has a method that bears the same name as that of his parents, when you create a new, it is going to now start using that of the child and not the one in the parent, and that is what you will see. When you call on new cow, it will use the one here, not the one in the parent again. It is not going to use its parent constructor again. It will use the one in the child. Where is it? It is the one in the child. So when you check it now, you will see I am. Oh, good. Let's solve this. This is where I was going to initially. Let's solve this. Let's look at something interesting happening. Now, what JavaScript is saying is that it's not allowing me to put a constructor in the child. Right? It's not allowing me to. Why is it like that? There's a special method called super. Super. To understand how super works, give me a second. You will understand it now. I will remove this constructor for now. Remember I said if you call on abc.fin, you know I told you to do this. To do this hello world, right? Please, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Alright. So, but I want this thing to call on the thing here, to call on the one in the parent. I come again. I want the thing at this place to call on the thing that is on the parent. That means when it is done with this hello world, I also want it to run the code inside this place. How do we do that? What you do is that there's a keyword called super. Super. When you call on super inside the method of a class, super refers to the parents of that class. I come again. When you call on super inside the method of a class, super refers to the parent of that class. So I'm inside in this place. I call on super. Super refers to the parent of this class. Super refers to animal. Do we get it? Hello?
Come again.
Sir.
Come again.
Alright. What I'm saying is this. Let's get a new class. I'll just say I. If I come inside this player and say super, super here refers to the parent of it refers to the parent of this class that owns this AI. So super refers to animal. Do we get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I want if I'm inside the method of a class and I call on super, super refers to the parent of that class that owns that method. So it's just like me coming here to say animal. That is something, that is how it looks like. Instead of saying animal, I can just come here and say super. Now you might say that why not just call on animal? The advantage of using super is this. I may wake up tomorrow and change the name of this class from animal to something else. Right. This one will be another. I don't need to come here and change super again. Super still refers to another. Do we get it? Super refers to another. If I'm inside a method of a class, say I is a method of cow, but super refers to the parent of that class. Super refers to another. If you get it, say hi. Please, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
If you don't get it, say I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's go over it again. Now, there's a class here called cow. Cow extends animal. That means cow is inheriting everything inside animal. Cow, when a class extends another class, it is copying everything inside that class for itself. Right? So cow is an extension of animal, meaning that cow has everything here to itself. Now, cow is the child, animal is the parent, because cow is the one extending animal. Do you get that part?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Okay, alright. Now, if I'm inside the method of a class, say hi is a method of cow. Have been now? Are you with
Yes.
me? Say hi is a method of cow. If I'm inside the method of a class and I call on super inside it, that super refers to the parent of that class. So the class itself is cow, but super here refers to the parent of cow. The parent of cow is what? Please, what is the parent of cow?
Animal.
Animal. So super here refers to animal. Do you get it?
Yes.
So I can say, super dot fin like this. That means I'm calling on the fin that is inside this place, inside this animal. Do we get it? Because someone is using now.
Yes, I get it.
Alright, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So that is what this super is meant for. So let's now go back to our constructor and look at how we can use super there. So what JavaScript does is that when a child has a constructor, it must reference its parent. All I just need to do is to come here and just put super. What is just saying is that I'm referencing the parent. Again, in JavaScript, when a child's class has constructor, it must have that super keyword, meaning that it is referencing its parent. In fact, what this is going to do is that it will call on the constructor inside the parent. I come again. This super here, it refers to the animal, it refers to the parent, right? So when you do this here, it will call on the constructor inside the parent. It will run the codes here. So when you run it, you first see I am animal's constructor. Then you now see I am cow's constructor. Any questions so far? Do you get it?
I get it now. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now let's make this a bit flexible. This dot leg, this dot eyes, this dot nose, this, I want to get them here. I can say legs, eyes, nose size. So this will now be legs, eyes, nose size. Like this. Legs, eyes, nose size. Like this. Now, If I come here and create a new instance of, okay, let's take it a step forward. This make and size, I want them to also be dynamic, right? I want them to be dynamic. So, make size so I will comment out this part first so that we understand what I want to explain better. With the way things are, we may not be able to look at this keyword tonight. That would be maybe the next class. I thought we would round off tonight, but with the way things are, I think when we are done with these classes and constructor, we would have spent a lot of time. So we may not be able to look at this keyword again tonight. Now let's move on. Now, if I come here and create a new instance of animal, according to what we learned in our last class, if you are creating a new instance of animal, it expects you to pass values to this place. Can we still remember?
Yes.
Okay. So if I want it to have 4 legs, I will pass 4 here. If I want it to have 2 eyes, I will pass 2 here. If I want it to have 2 noses, I will pass 2 here. So the first value here goes to the first value. Goes to the first value here. The second value here goes to the second value here. The third value here goes to the third value here. So this can now set them. That's fine. But there's a little problem. The problem is this. We've talked about method overriding. Method overriding says when the child has a method that bears the same name as that of his parents, it will no longer use that of the parents. Now it will use the one in the child. Look at something. Imagine this is cow instead of animal. Because the child does not have constructor, this has been commented out. It will use the one in the parent instead. And this will work fine. It will set the legs to 4. It will set the eyes to 2. It will set the nostrils to 2. No problem with that. Do we get it? Are we still following?
Yes, sir.
Alright, okay. But the moment I put a constructor in the child, it will no longer use the one of the parents. It will call on the child's constructor. The implication of that is that this 4 becomes the value of Mick. This 2 becomes the value of size. And this last 2 will be discarded. Do we get it? Hello? Do we get it?
Yes, I'm getting it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's the problem we're currently facing. How do we now ensure that the parent is able to set its own values? The child is also able to set his own values. So what we do instead is this. We can come here and pass all of the parents' values here also. Legs. I think the second is eyes. And the third is nostrils. It's not a must to call them these names. You can call them another name. In fact, I can just say new leg. New legs. New eyes. And then new nostrils. So we want to pass these ones to this place. So this first one goes to the first one here. Second one goes to the second one here. Third one goes to the third one here. But it remains these 2, make and size. So I can come here and pass the make to be 2 and the size to be 400 kg. Like this. So first goes to first, second to second, third to third, fourth to fourth, fifth to fifth. But a little problem again. This constructor is only handling 2, the make and the size. It's not the one handling the legs, the eyes, the nostrils. So that is where the super comes in. Like this. So let's see what happens. When you go to a new instance of cow, the first comes here, the second comes here, the third comes here, the fourth comes here, the fifth comes here. Now, super refers to animal. When you call on super, I explained that it's going to call on the constructor inside the parent. Right? So while calling on that constructor, you are passing these values to it. So you are passing the new legs you are getting here, you are passing it to super. You are getting the new eyes you are getting here, you are passing it to super. The new noses you are getting here, you are passing it to super. So that this will now send it to the constructor of the parent. New legs becomes the value of legs. New eyes becomes the value of eyes. New nose toys becomes the value of nose toys. So the parent now can now handle it the way it wants. It can now say this dot legs equals to the legs you just sent in. Do you get it? Hello?
Please explain again. Explain again.
Okay, sir. Let's go right
Explain
again.
again.
Alright. This is it. No, when you say new cow, I told you to call on the child's constructor, right? Please, are you following?
Yes. Yes.
Now, the first value here goes to the first value here. That means new legs becomes 4, right?
Yes.
The second value here goes to the second value here. New eyes becomes 2. The third value here goes to the third value here. New noses becomes 2. The fourth value here goes to the fourth value here. Milk becomes 2. The fifth value here goes to the fifth value there, meaning that size becomes 400 kg. Any question to that part?
Sounds.
Alright. Now, the parent is the one handling the setting of the legs, the eyes, and the noses, not the child. We are doing that inside the parent's constructor. So we want to find a way to run the codes here, to run these codes. And I explained earlier to us that this super here refers to the parent. Can we still remember? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Super
It's
is refers to the parent, which is animal, right? If you just come here and say
Yes, sir.
super like this, you should call on the parent constructor immediately. It will call on the constructor of animal. But while calling on the constructor of animal, we want to pass this new leg that we got into the parent. So it will send this to the constructor of animal. It will send it as the value of this one. Then let's put the second value here. This second value here, it will send it as the value of this. The third value, the one you just received, you are sending it straight to the parent's constructor. So it will send this one also to the value of this. Do we understand?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Alright. So the parent constructor now can now handle it the way it wants. It can now do all of these things. Now the child can handle the remaining milk and size. So the child is the one setting this to, right? The child is the one setting this. Any questions so far? Let's just create
Okay, sir.
a function that will display everything. Just call it display info. I'll say console log I have this this dot lex this dot height and let's add one more. We just add the size, and I am this dot size big. Let's just put it like this. Okay, so let's call on a dot display info. Okay, this ABC that is 24 like this. You have this. I have 4 legs, 2 eyes, and I have 400 kg beak. How is that possible? It's because of this. When you call on this will be sent here. Then this is sending the 3 of them to this place, to the parents. The parents will receive the 3 of them. Sorry. The parents will receive the 3 of them. It will set the legs. The value, this dot legs becomes the first value. This dot eyes becomes the second value. This dot nostrils becomes the third value. It will display I am animals constructor. When it is done, it's going to say this dot make equals to the fourth value, which is make here. This dot size equals to the last value, which is size here. Then it will display I am the cows constructor. So it is done with this first line. Then when you call on abc.display info, it will run the code here. It will display I have this dot legs. Remember, the parent has already set the legs at this point. The parent has already set it. And I told you that everything in the parent will be given to the child. So that's where you can come here and say I have this dot legs. So that will have 4 legs, 2 eyes, and I am 400 kilogram big. That's why you have that results. Question. Okay. Kisley, do you get it? Hello? Can you hear me?
I'm just waiting for this class. I
Okay.
really want to get it.
Okay, alright.
Because I'm planning to build a game app with JavaScript. So I
Okay.
just want to get at this.
Alright, no problem. So we look at this in the next class, THIS, this, and that's going to be the last class. Thank you, thanks for coming. See you next week.
Alright, so take care, sir.
Yes.
Done.